Japan really owned the pearl business from about 1920 to about 1995. China learned how to start cultivating these pearls in the mid-70s, but they didn't really get it until the early 90s where they became round.
Chinese pearl industry really started with little Rice Krispie pearls. They were pearls that literally looked like Rice Krispies. And as the years went on, the Chinese got better and better at creating and figuring out how to grow their harvests. They became better farmers.
And we started to see these productions of very smooth, very bright, very clean, well-cultivated pearls. And we knew the world was going to change. This was a game changer. Nothing like this had ever been seen before. And year after year, the pearls continued to get larger, better, and rounder. Productions are enormous. There are thousands of small farmers bringing small productions to these large processors. Billions of pearls are grown and cultivated in China. Now over 95% of the world's pearls are produced in China, and that's an incredible fact when you think that literally 20 years ago this industry didn't even exist.
Joel and I went to the pearl farms about 5 years ago for the first time. We actually visited a farm where actually no Americans have ever been before. We were the first two Americans to visit.
We go to Shanghai or Hangzhou, sometimes drive 5, 6, 7 hours into the wilderness to get into these very remote areas where the water is very pristine and we can grow cultured pearls.
I saw things that I've never ever dreamed possible. It was like going on the most incredible treasure hunt in my entire life.
The area is so serene. You'll see kind of a large lake, huge bodies of water. Some of them are so big that you can almost not see over the horizon, but a lot of small ponds and small lakes and rivers where we see floats. The floats could be made out of balsa wood. Even we've seen them use old soda bottles, to prop up the nets that are laying in the water that are growing these cultured pearls for years and years and years.
Cultured pearl just means that man placed the irritant inside the mollusk and then nature takes it from there. The unique thing about freshwater pearls is that we just start with a tiny piece of tissue and layer upon layer of nacre is surrounded about the pearl. Our pearls are about 95% nacre.
Nacre is calcium carbonate. When you take the science out of it, what it is, it's the layers of pearl material, minute layers that surround a nucleus that we start a cultured pearl process by growing.
In order to protect itself, what it does, it secretes calcium carbonate, which is nacre, and that's what forms a pearl, layer upon layer of nacre around this irritant that man has placed.
In the mollusk, these pearls begin to grow instantly. We've literally opened some after 15 minutes, and you can see how the tiny bits of tissue are balled up immediately by the skin of the mollusk. As it envelops it, begins to make it a little bit round, and then we'll begin to create these layers of pearl nacre for years and years and years around it. Each particular layer makes a pearl more durable. It makes the pearl more bright. It makes the pearl more exciting as it comes out.
The great thing about mollusks is, as they get older, they get better.
As humans, we look at our skin degrading as we get older. For mollusks, their skin actually improves.
And as they get older, the sheen, the luster from the pearl just gets better and better. And when you pull out a pearl, it is so bright, it almost looks like it's metallic in nature. That's how bright the luster is on a pearl like that. They insert a tiny piece of tissue from another mollusk. What they do is they take the weaker mollusks, they cut the tissue out of the weaker mollusk and implant it into the stronger mollusk.
The mollusk starts out very small, about the size of, again, the inside of my palm. We put little dabs of tissue on the wall, about 16 on each side.
So all told, we can get about 40 pearls at once from a mollusk. And that's really where the value comes from, that we can produce pearls up to about 40 times faster than a regular Japanese pearl.
The average pearl stays in the water in China for about 4 to 5 years. That's about the average, growing a size somewhere between 8 and 9 millimeter. That's right kind of smack in the middle. There are some that will stay in the water as little as 2 or 3 years, and there are some that are staying in the water now as long as 7. Every single year that the pearl sits in the water, it grows larger and larger and larger. Like the rings of a tree, we can tell how old a pearl is by how large it is. When we began working with these new Chinese pearls in the early 90s, the largest pearls we saw were about 5 to 6 millimeter. Today, that's the small end of the spectrum.
Really, freshwater pearls can grow anywhere today from about 3.5 to 4 millimeter, all the way up to 12, 13, 14, up to 20 millimeters, depending how long they're in the water and depending what size mollusk that they're in.
These, in the past, were only the size of South Sea pearls that had huge price tags and were unobtainable by almost any consumer that wanted them. In the last few years, we're seeing large, gorgeous pearls that almost any woman can afford. This is very, very exciting for the pearl industry and for jewelry stores. In a first-generation pearl, we'll see rounds, ovals, drops, baroques, buttons, and even ring pearls, pearls that have these natural rings going all around them.
That's the cool thing about freshwater pearls. You really never know what kind of shapes you're going to get out of it, how many you're going to get out of it. Depending on where a pearl grows inside the mollusk is really what the shape is going to be. For example, in dead center of the mollusk, that's exactly where you're going to get your round pearls, because there's only room dead center for it to grow big enough to be a round pearl. Around the edges of the mollusk, you get your button pearls,
where the bottom will be really, really flat. There was just no room for it to grow, but the outside and the top of the pearl is domed. Those are some of the most beautiful pearls that we use in rings, earrings, especially because they lay very, very flat to the ear. They're low profile in rings, so we love working with button pearls.
Then you'll get your baroque pearls that grow inside other areas in the mollusk where there's parts of a protrusion that are coming out of the mollusk, so that the pearl, as it's growing, it actually has to kind of change direction, and that's where you get your baroque pearls. Well, the Chinese are actually fantastic at sorting. It takes a lot of labor to get a pearl to you in market today.
As the farmers extract these pearls, they begin to separate them into very general and then more specific categories. First thing they'll do is separate rounds from baroques, from ovals to drops, making sure every different type of pearl is in a different bin. Then they go back. They're sorted for size. So the small drops will be in one basket, medium drops in another basket, large drops, etc. And then they go through another sorting. That sorting will be basically for the quality of the pearl. That's the most important one to me, because I'm looking for those few bins that have the really high-end selected pearls.
Joel and I really select all the pearls that we see. We specialize in the top 3% of the Chinese harvest. That really means that 97 out of every 100 pearls we see are not good enough to be Honora pearls.
These are the pearls that have gorgeous to flawless skin, where they're very, very bright, very, very clean, have no visible marks on the pearls whatsoever, and the luster is really bright. Most of the production from China, unfortunately, is not gem quality. More than half of the pearls we can't even look at, they're so poor. And even from the half of the pearls that we do look at, we can only take a few percent.
We are sticklers for high luster and clean pearls. Shape, we love all different types of shape. As long as they have clean skin, no blemishes, and very, very high luster, those are Honora pearls, the top 3% of the Chinese freshwater harvest.
A mollusk will produce a variety of natural colors, and that's one of the really interesting things about Chinese pearl farming that we don't see in any other area. We will open up one mollusk and we'll see pearls with violently different colors. We have a series of what we would call purples to pinks, lavenders, purples, mauves, and pinks, and then we have a series of colors that are in the orange family that will go from literally maybe a very pastel peach into a strong apricot. But the crazy thing about this pearl farming is that we'll see both of those colors in the same mollusk. As the veins of color run through the shells, so becomes the colors that the pearls will take on once they're in that particular area of the mollusk. Only a small percentage really come out in a color that will make a beautiful white pearl. Sometimes only 20 or 30% of a mollusk will produce a white pearl. It's one of the reasons still why high quality white pearls always command a premium over any other cultured pearl.
Pearls that today, with the colors that we get, are dyed. And what happens is, because pearls are porous, the pearl will absorb the color. It's not like an Easter egg, don't think like that. It's not like an outside coating, it's a coating from inside to out. So the color will be in the pearl throughout the pearl. So it's a process that will last a lifetime because, as I said, the pearls absorb the color. Freshwater pearls have totally transformed the market today. Because pearls are so affordable and so fun and so many different colors and shapes, and above all, affordable, that pearls are in now all the time.
And then the types of jewelry that we could make because of the different shapes. Again, moving out of classic jewelry into fashion has been a lot of fun for me. The creative process of what we can do with a cultured pearl is just so different than it was 15 years ago.
You see them in magazines, you see them on runways, you see them in movies, on television, because they're fun to wear, they're easy to wear, they're the most versatile gem. Honora is a company that's been around for almost 65 years now, and I think the thing that sets Honora apart are the people that work there.
Everyone in the company, everyone at Honora is dedicated to bringing the lowest cost, highest quality product possible to consumers all over the world.
As we say at Honora, these are not your mother's pearls. We want to bring pearls to women like they've never had before.
Only 15 years ago, pearls were really for the rich. That's not true anymore. Today, anyone can afford pearls, and you can get different types and collect things that you never thought imaginable.